As a Kathak artist, I have to say, for some people, I think they may have a story they just there's a story that they are just needing to tell, wanting to tell, meant to tell. Kathak provides a way through which they can do that. And for one to be able to do that is a whole other realm of delving so deeply into understanding what the content is, how one can use the dance, technique of the rhythms of your feet, the movements of your body, but the expression and the subtleties, right? The 4 basic elements of Kathak, which we all know. For me personally, I think I am still on a journey of trying to understand what stories I have to tell. In my training and in all of our training, we learn stories, right? That come from the Ramayana, the Mahabharata, from our childhoods. I grew up in the US, so the stories I grew up with are not the same that many have grown up with in India. So a lot of these are very foreign stories to me, and I keep trying to find my connection to them. And what I do appreciate is that they are stories of humanity and stories of the human experience and individual journey and interpersonal journeys. And what I'm looking forward to now after such rigorous training is now finding my own voice in the art in all of the aspects. And the story is one thing I really am looking forward to delving into more, because I'm curious for myself to know what story it is that I have to tell, that I would like to tell through Kathak. And so that is actually where I'm venturing into in this next phase of my Kathak journey. At the Kathak Festival in April, I went through a bit of a process to decide what I would like to present, because now I've been really immersed in the tradition of Kathak, but there are opportunities to explore and push the boundaries. And one thing that I really felt aligned with, that my Guruji, Pandit Chitresh Das, really emphasized, was not to immediately go into fusion. I think especially being in the US and especially just this day and age, a lot of people think to be novel, you have to fuse. And I think people use that word fusion very loosely, and not realizing that to fuse means to meld and almost lose elements of the two things that are being fused together. And what I really appreciated was the distinction between that and potentially the word maybe collaboration, right? Or even not having to go outside of your art form. When one goes so deep into their riyaz and their sadhana, that they can tap into, again, that deeper part of themselves. But really, it also means hard work. So that consistent, hard work, boring practice is fully necessary for that foundation to be developed and for you to have this strong foundation in your art. From there, I believe, is where upaj comes from. Because then it's not just an arsenal of material, but it is a deep connection with your dance and with yourself and with that place in your heart that it has to come from. And I tell you, there is just nothing like being able to dance, not even only on stage, even in practice with live musicians, nothing like it. And unfortunately, it's very rare. But when you do build a community of artists around you who are willing to support each other and find the value, there are a lot of musicians who don't perform with dance because it's hard enough. They're trying to focus on their own solo careers, and understandably. But Kathak needs those live artists. Kathak dictates. So Kathak in Kathak, the Kathak dancer not only communicates with the audience, but it's very much a communication with the musicians. So it's this triangular conversation. And I just personally, knowing the feeling of that, think it is the most blissful thing, sometimes the most nerve-wracking thing. But when you can get into that space where you're in rapport with each other, the musicians for sure, also if the audience is on board with you and coming along, and we're all riding on this energy, or you're generating that energy, it's unbelievable. But that upaj comes when traditionally you may not even know the musicians that you're playing with, but if you're so well versed in your individual arts, your respective arts, this can happen. And that has happened on occasion. I think though there is something very special when you do have a rapport with the musicians on stage and you're just willing to go for it. You also listen to each other and you vibe off of each other, essentially. And you just create this energy. But the improvisation that can come by just playing, right? And so that playing comes when you really are steeped and so well grounded in your art. I grew up with a lot of Greek mythology. Somehow I think I just gravitated towards that in school. And the idea of the phoenix has been something that has been coming to mind lately. Something amazing arising out of something like earth, dirt, muck, and really looking forward to exploring what this is. But again, especially as we go through our own journeys of life, I think we've all probably been through some muck. And personally knowing that I'm where I've been and what I've been able to overcome already, but still yet need to overcome. And I think that's why, again, this is lifelong. We learn lessons, we overcome something, and something else hits us, because this is life. And so each time, the lesson is to keep getting up, keep getting up. I think it took me a while to understand what it means to just keep getting up. I'm a very persistent person, for sure, and maybe stronger in certain areas of my life, but in others, you know, you can see where your strengths play out in certain areas and where they need some help. But the idea of overcoming, and so I think the idea of the phoenix was representing that to me, and I feel like that is something that resonates with me personally and something I would like to explore a little bit more, because I think we could all relate to it.